أهلا ومرحبا بكم متابعي الخليج سكاي نيوز. نرجو منكم الاشتراك بالقناة وتفعيل زر الجرس وتحفيزنا بعمل لايك للفيديو. واصلت مجلة الايكونوميست البريطانية فضح ولي العهد السعودي محمد بن سلمان، وذلك عبر إنتاجها فيلما وثائقيا هاما يتناول شخصية ابن سلمان وخطورته على العالم. وبدأت المجلة فيلمها الوثائقي بعرض صورة سوداء لولي العهد السعودي، متسائلة إن كان هو أحد أكثر الأشخاص خطورة في العالم. وقالت إن محمد بن سلمان ولي العهد السعودي المعروف بمبس معروف لدى البعض بأنه ثوري، وغير شكل الحياة في المملكة العربية السعودية خصوصا للنساء، لكن بالنسبة لآخرين هو جزار أشعل حربا دموية في اليمن. والمخابرات الأمريكية ترى أنه أمر بعملية قتل جمال خاشقجي والذي تم تقطيعه بمنشار عظم. وأجرت المجلة في فيلمها الوثائقي لقاء مع الدكتور خالد الجبري نجل المسؤول الأمن الهارب سعد الجبري، واصفا ابن سلمان بأنه شخص خطير للغاية وأصبح أكثر خطورة بسبب القوة التي يراكمها. وشرح الفيلم الوثائقي كيف انقلب ابن سلمان على ابن عمه ولي العهد السابق محمد بن نايف، وكيف أصبح ملكا غير متوجا. وقال التقرير إن الملك سلمان فتح الطريق لابنه لخلافته، وأنه في عام 2017 وفقا لتقارير داخلية أجبر محمد بن سلمان ابن عمه محمد بن نايف على التنحي من منصب ولاية العهد.
Is this one of the world's most dangerous millennials? Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, better known as MBS. To some, he's a revolutionary who has transformed life in Saudi Arabia, especially for women. To others, he's a butcher who fueled a bloody war in Yemen, and the CIA believes approved an operation to kill or capture a Washington Post journalist who was cut up with a bone saw. Now, thanks to the global energy crisis, the Crown Prince looks stronger than ever, and world leaders are queuing up to get their hands on his oil.
I think the kingdom is in a uniquely powerful position with what is happening in Ukraine.
So what will he do next?
MBS is a very dangerous man who is becoming more dangerous because of the power he's accumulating.
After hours in Saudi Arabia, men and women mixing freely, and a female DJ on the decks. The Economist's Nicholas Pelham was filming the scene.
I think I had to do a double take. It was really quite an astonishing sight.
Just a few years ago, all this would have been illegal. Public entertainment was banned, and unmarried men and women were not allowed to socialize.
Saudi Arabia, for all the time that I've known it, until about the last 5 or 6 years, has been a society where public space was ruled by religious police. What I find so hard to grapple with is just how normal it all felt. I don't understand how you can live with one set of values and then supplant them with another as if nothing had really happened.
In the past, Saudi Arabia was governed according to a strict interpretation of Islam. Clerics controlled everything, from social life to the role of women.
The kingdom really was ruled through a joint venture, if you want, between the royal family and the hardline religious establishment. And it was an ultra-conservative establishment. You know, controlled education, controlled the public narrative.
That was until the rise of Mohammed bin Salman. The young crown prince stripped the clerics of their power, increased women's rights, including giving them the right to drive, and all in a radically short period of time.
If you look at it in a historical context of what societies had to go through to neuter their conservative right-wing religious class, that usually only happened with civil wars. This has all happened without a single cleric being, killed or no violence on the streets. And I think that is virtually miraculous, really.
So who is the man behind these changes? MBS is a millennial who enjoys flaunting his wealth. He splashed out over £200 million on a French chateau. The Economist was given a rare chance to sit down with him in 2016 and found a prince ready for power.
There wasn't a single question that he shied away from. His responses were imaginative and detailed, and he was forthcoming. And I think what came across perhaps most stridently was a sense of conviction. He really believed in his ability to change the kingdom.
Despite his confidence, few could have predicted MBS's rise. In Saudi Arabia's ruling dynasty, the House of Saud, power usually passes sideways, from brother to brother. MBS's father, Salman, had several older brothers ahead of him in line for succession, but when two died, he was able to take the throne, opening up the way for MBS to succeed him. Although he still had several older half-brothers ahead of him in line for the throne.
It wasn't clear that the line of succession was going to pass from one generation to the next, and if you were going to move to the next generation, there were many princes who were far better known. Mohammed bin Salman was an unknown quantity.
But his father, Salman, had a soft spot for him. So when he became king in 2015, he increased MBS's portfolio. These are just some of the titles he was given. Then in 2017, according to insider reports, MBS forced his cousin to step aside as crown prince.
There seems to have been something of a standoff. Mohammed bin Naif and his guards were disarmed. Mohammed bin Naif was told that your time is up. The Council of Allegiance has decided that you're no longer the crown prince, and I'm going to fill your shoes.
After this, MBS wasted no time in cementing his power.
It's a shake-up sending shockwaves across the kingdom and the world. Saudi Arabia detaining top officials in a sweeping corruption probe.
He invited the wealthiest men in the kingdom, along with the world's business elite, to a conference on the future of the Saudi economy, a self-styled Davos in the desert. And a short time later, he used the opportunity to hold many of them in a luxury hotel.
He rounded up the leading princes and the richest businessmen, interrogated them, got them to reveal their banking details. Thereafter, it was very clear that the real only ruler in the kingdom was now Mohammed bin Salman.
Since then, his aggression and repressive behavior have escalated. He has consolidated power around his own court. Human rights groups estimate thousands have been detained. And in March this year alone, 81 were executed.
The government has maintained an extremely tight control of society. And I think that is a price the kingdom has had to pay for social peace as it transitions through this wrenching process.
Some are much more skeptical. Khalid Al-Jabri says he knows firsthand how brutal the regime can be.
When all you have is a hammer, everybody becomes a nail. That's exactly what MBS is doing. And his list of victims will keep expanding inside and outside Saudi Arabia unless somebody decides to put a check on him.
Khalid lives in America, but his roots are in Saudi Arabia.
I come from a big family in terms of Western standards. I'm the eldest, 6 boys and 2 girls, including Ahmad and Sarah. They were funny, smart, very, very ambitious.
In 2017, Omar and Sarah were banned from leaving the kingdom. 3 years later, they were seized by the authorities.
There were 20 unmarked civilian cars that showed up with 50 officers in plain clothes that went into the house and basically took Omar and Sarah.
Khalid's father was an advisor to the former crown prince, Mohammed bin Naif. Khalid thinks his siblings' travel ban has been used by MBS to try to pressure his dad to return to the kingdom. And he has seen messages from MBS to his father, which he believes support this.
What's so unique about our case is Mohammed bin Salman can deflect responsibility on rogue Asians or that he doesn't know about it.
It's a complicated story. Khalid's dad is also accused of stealing billions of dollars from the Saudi government, which he denies. Meanwhile, Khalid worries about his own security.
I think, like my father, I made peace with the fact that one day I will probably be harmed.
And who can blame him? MBS has famously been linked to the murder of outspoken former royal court insider and journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was dismembered with a bone saw in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Nicholas knew him personally.
We were due to meet up in Istanbul the weekend that he disappeared. I think Mohammed bin Salman, he wanted to send a message that this is what happens when you question my authority.
MBS has said he takes responsibility for the murder, but denies ordering it. For a time, it looked like the killing could jeopardize the kingdom's relationship with one of its closest allies, America.
You were going to, in fact, make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are.
Saudi Arabia has long been a strategic ally in the Middle East. Successive presidents have happily sold arms to Saudi leaders.
We really have a great friendship, a great relationship. Crown Prince, thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
It's also home to the world's largest accessible oil reserves. And thanks to the energy crisis caused by the war in Ukraine, President Biden's threats now look empty.
The message from Ukraine has been that the global economy still depends on oil from the Gulf. It was also significant that it wasn't just Biden who came to Saudi Arabia, it was also the most powerful leaders in the Arab world. It was almost as if Mohammed bin Salman was sending the message, I'm your address in the Middle East. If you want to have a relationship with the Middle East, if you want to keep Russia and China away from dominating the region, deal with me.
ونقلت المجلة عن مراسلها في الشرق الأوسط نيكولاس بيلهام قوله إنه كان هناك نوع من المواجهة حيث تم نزع أسلحة محمد بن نايف وحراسه، وقيل له أن وقتك قد انتهى وأن هيئة البيعة قررت أنه لم يعد وليا للعهد. وبحسب الوثائقي فإنه منذ ذلك الحين تصاعد عدوان محمد بن سلمان وسلوكه القمعي وعزز قوته وسيطرته على كافة الأمور. وأشار خالد الجبري في الفيلم الوثائقي إلى أن قائمة الضحايا التي يستهدفها نظام ابن سلمان تتزايد في داخل وخارج السعودية، مؤكدا أنها ستتوسع يوما بعد يوم إذا لم يوقفه أحد ما. وقال إنه إذا كانت المطرقة هي الأداة الوحيدة معك فستعامل كل الأشياء أو الأشخاص وكأنهم مسامير، موضحا أنه هذا بالضبط ما يفعله ابن سلمان وفق قوله. وكشف الفيلم الوثائقي بأن خالد الجبري اطلع على المراسلات الخاصة بين ابن سلمان ووالده سعد الجبري، والتي تؤكد بأن مبس يبتزه باحتجاز أطفاله مقابل عودة الجبري للمملكة. ورأى الجبري أن الأمر الفريد في قضيته هو ووالده مع ابن سلمان هو أنه يمكنه أن يلقي بالمسؤولية على العملاء المارقين وأنه لا يعرف عنهم. وبحسب الوثائق ربما يكون محمد بن سلمان هو أكبر تهديد على نفسه، حيث أظهر أن لديه ذات مغرورة تقودها العدوانية والتهور، مشيرا إلى أن هذا الغرور لن يدوم طويلا قبل أن يرتكب خطأ فادحا. وتساءل بلهام خلال الوثائق هل تهور ابن سلمان ووحشيته هي رغبة في أن يكون الصوت الوحيد في المملكة والتي يمكن أن تقود في النهاية إلى هلاكه. وأوضح أن السياسة السليمة تحتاج لشخص يقول لا، بينما حاليا في السعودية الجميع خائف من أي شيء عدا نعم. وأكد بلهام على أن ابن سلمان يحكم حقا بالخوف، مشيرا إلى أن ما رآه في زيارته الأخيرة للسعودية أكثر من أي وقت مضى يستدعي السؤال له كما هو الحال بالنسبة للقادة المستبدين في الشرق الأوسط، إلى متى ستستمر في الحكم بالخوف والقوة، وما هي النقطة التي يمكن أن تنهار بعدها؟